to get to the championship, and then pitching in the circle, tying a career high. Amber Fiser off of her arm, getting Minnesota to the title game. And here we stand. After 12 teams and 11 games, the Big Ten softball tournament has reached its final conclusion on the Big Ten Network, and they're chasing that tournament trophy. It is Michigan and Minnesota, winners of the last 5 Big Ten tournaments, to go for the championship in 2019. Taking a look at our Meyer tournament bracket, Michigan defeated Wisconsin 8-3, and Minnesota shutting out Northwestern to get to this point 4-0. Thank you for joining us. Alongside the NFCA Executive Director, Carol Bruggeman, I'm Lisa Byington. Will you talk about the recent tournament history here for both of these programs? Michigan, with as much success as it has, hasn't won a Big Ten tournament championship in 2015. That's because Minnesota has taken the last 3.
Well, they sure have. And when you think of both of these programs, you think about championships. And this is the matchup everyone wanted to see this season. They did not play in the regular season. We're going to have a champion today, and it's going to go through 2 of their superstar pitchers. The 2018 Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Megan Beaubien for Michigan, and this year's Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Amber Fiser from Minnesota.
Just the way it should be. Michigan, your regular season champs, and going for the tournament title just moments away. Taking a look at our Atletico batting order, Faith Canfield has been solid this tournament in the leadoff spot.
Oh, just amazing game in the semifinal. Did not record an out. She sets a great tone for Michigan at the top of the lineup.
We may see Amber Fiser later, but for right now, the start goes to Sydney Smith.
Well, Sydney Smith, well rested, didn't have to pitch in the semifinal game, and she comes in. She's pitched quite a bit this season already at 100 innings, gets the nod in the championship game.
5 innings pitch in the Big Ten tournament, and appeared in the 1 quarterfinal game. Amber Fiser in the dugout after tying a career-high 13 strikeouts in the semis against Northwestern. You like this decision?
Well, I think that Sydney Smith has pitched enough innings to earn the start here, and Amber Fiser, pitched a little bit last night. Smith got the start. This is actually her 2nd start in the Big Ten tournament. Fiser's only had 1 start. But somehow I think we will see Amber Fiser before this day is over.
I think that's a good hunch. Sydney Smith with 13 wins this year. Michigan played in the first semifinal. Faith Canfield bouncer to Allie Arneson, who makes the out. And Arneson has someone at the shortstop position that has been so solid in the Big Ten tournament.
She's had a lot of plays, gets the first one of the championship game. She's got quick feet and a strong arm, has made a lot of plays and anchors that go for defense.
This Michigan team played in the first semifinal, and they sat and watched most of the game live and in person. Amber Fiser's performance. Again to Arneson. Hart now under 2.
Sydney Smith loves to work the bottom half of the zone, and if she's on her game, you're going to see a lot of ground balls. So far, 2 for 2. Ground balls to Arneson. Showing you her arm strength on both those ground ball outs.
Brings up Lexi Blair. First team all Big Ten. The rookie who plays like the vet.
Can't say enough about the year Lexi Blair has had. Her first season in a Michigan uniform. Leads the team in about every category. And she's tough to strike out. One of the toughest to strike out. #1 in the Big Ten, but top 10 in the nation. So she's able to battle. knows her strike zone. Had the walk-off winner and a home run in the quarterfinal.
Stepped in like it was nothing.
That's the thing Carol Hutchins is most impressed with about her freshman. Just has a very steady demeanor, calm presence, doesn't get too high, too low. Been able to perform all season long.
Chasing it. Striking out Lexi Blair. Heading to the bottom of the first for Minnesota. Minnesota likes the Big Ten tournament. They like this batting order too. It has produced for them, including Hope Brandner, all season long.
You see a home run in both tournament games so far for Minnesota. She is swinging with confidence and can hit the ball a long way. Provides a lot of power in the Gophers batting order.
Megan Beaubien, the ace for Michigan, gets the start, picked up the win in the semifinals.
Came in relief in the quarterfinals. Was outstanding in the semifinals. 27 wins on the season. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio. She really pounds the strike zone, can move the ball through the zone. Really has hit her stride. Had such an outstanding freshman season. Sophomore season had a little slow start, but she's hit her stride in May.
Facing McKenna Partain. It has been a tough out. Always has been.
Just quietly hits over 400 year after year. Just such a good leadoff hitter. Takes a lot of pitches, draws a lot of walks.
The only 400 hitter in this Minnesota lineup.
And this is Minnesota's first look at Megan Beaubien this whole season. These two didn't play in the regular season.
In their careers. McKenna Partain hasn't faced Megan Beaubien. 1-2 now the count. First team all Big Ten, leads the team in that batting average. Second most runs in program history. Tacked on another run in the semifinals. 63 total for the year. Just got a piece of that one.
And when you think of McKenna Partain, there's one word that comes to my mind, and that's just steady. She is steady day in, day out. You don't see her get too high or too low, just plays hard. Probably one of the quietest over 400 hitters in the country. She has several doubles, home runs, 30 walks. Just gets it done day in and day out.
Partain to Rodriguez. Not today.
We see the end result is an out, but watch how far Natalie Rodriguez runs to get this ball. It's her feet that make the difference.
And just the incredible plays that both of these shortstops have made in tournament play.
All right, it's highlight reel after highlight reel. Just a real toughness, a real grittiness about Rodriguez, able to retire Partain.
Maddie Houlihan, last year's most outstanding player in the tournament. Second team all Big Ten this year. You see a Minnesota game, you expect her in the lineup.
I tell you what, if you're watching this game, you better not blink. You better go quickly to get those snacks and come back, because both pitchers are working at a very quick tempo. You get the ball back, get their sign, get in the circle, and off they go.
The 1-2. Houlihan floats it to Canfield. Out number 2. Megan Beaubien sitting on 199 strikeouts for the year. So much more scout, so much more film on her in her sophomore season versus her freshman year. Still putting up big numbers.
And what's equally as impressive, 1 strikeout shy of 200, only 32 walks on the season, so she's been very efficient. Not a lot of free bases given up. And really, she can work the ball on all planes. She can work that curveball, backdoor curveball, regular curveball. So she can work the curve on both sides of the plate already. 75% of her pitches it strikes. She can elevate up in the zone and also has an off speed.
That one got away from her.
And the off speed is key. If her off speed's on, that one you can see hung on to it too long, way up in the zone. A little smile from Beaubien about that pitch. She wants that one back, but if she can have her off speed to mix in with her moving pitches, it's a challenge to hit Megan Beaubien because she can throw it to all quadrants.
She bought it that time. 2-2 the count. Hope Brander, your transfer from Oregon State. Just a sophomore. Her numbers have improved. The 1 year she played in the Pac-12 to this year in the Big Ten. By Brander. A 2-out single. Michigan as the visitors, Minnesota as the home team. It's because when you get to this point of the Big Ten tournament, it's how many times each school has been the home team. Michigan has been the home team twice, Minnesota just once. That's why as a 3 seed, you will see the Gophers batting last. Big cut from Den Hartog.
Den Hartog, one of the best freshmen, not only in the Big Ten, but in the nation this year. Well, she and Lexi Blair on the Michigan side, 2 of the top 10 finalists for the NFCA National Freshman of the Year award. There's a lot of great young talent in this league.
The 1-1, again, that pitch getting away.
And so far, not able to locate that off-speed pitch in the strike zone. So if you're Minnesota, you kind of take that out of your mix right now. You're looking for something hard.
Den Hartog lead the Big Ten in the RBI category. Was tied for first on the team in home runs. Chased it. 200 strikeouts for the year for Megan Beaubien. And 0-0 score. Minnesota and Michigan, your last 5 tournament champs going back to 2014. Last meeting between Michigan and Minnesota before tonight, the 2016 championship. Extra innings went into a walk-off. Minnesota took it as the number 2 seed. This was the game-winning run. The final in 10 innings. And that started the championship train for the Gophers. Really kind of turning the page, too. Michigan has always set the standard here in the Big Ten in terms of championship programs. Minnesota having fun with this one. That was Ellie Jensen. It's only played in 13 games here for the Gophers. But the first time, really, that the Gophers have kind of knocked off royalty at the top of the mountain, so to speak, with that championship.
And Minnesota feels like they have a brand now, too, and they absolutely do. And it's because they have won some postseason championships, some tournament championships. Michigan's won 11 of the last 12 regular season championships. You saw it's been a while since they've won a tournament championship. Amber Fiser getting a little attention in that arm. That's what 13 strikeouts will do. She had in the semifinal.
Kind of a question of when we will see her, maybe not if. Although Sydney Smith looked awfully impressive in the first inning.
Well, a lot of times at this time of year, too, the athletic trainer becomes the MVP of your team, keeping everybody healthy, feeling good. You want to feel great going into the postseason, and, you know, they've been playing for 3 months, 56 games and counting. Need a little extra attention.
Smith low and inside.
Really working that bottom part of the zone. Staying ahead for the most part. No base runners for Michigan. Throwing a lot of strikes. Staying in command.
Ground ball back to Smith. Gonna make sure of it for the second out.
Pitcher, do I throw it overhand? Nah, I've got time to make sure with the little toss. 3 ground balls, ground outs so far with Smith, and that's when you know she's on her game. She likes to feed the defense, work the bottom part of the zone.
That subcheck to fly out in this inning struck out Blair, which, by the way, is only the 5th strikeout for Lexi Blair. 5 straight outs for Sydney Smith in this Minnesota defense.
Oh, it's such a good compliment to Amber Fiser. I mean, Fiser works a little more up in the zone, elevates, pure power. And Smith works more down in the zone, a little more spin on the ball.
Kenzie Nemitz finds the glove of Kemet Mueller. 6 straight outs for Sydney Smith. And Fiser approves. Softball on BTN is brought to you by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm, here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today. Wrapping up. We started the day at 9 a.m. and that's one way to avoid maybe the possible weather coming through, but hopefully not yet. Started our day at 9 a.m., pushed up both of the semifinals to try to avoid some of the rains coming through Bloomington, Indiana. They are coming. I'm not a meteorologist, but I know that green stuff is not good. We started the day with blue skies and sunshine. Now under the lights for the championship and overcast skies. Andy Moore Field, first time hosting the Big Ten tournament. This facility dedicated on April 24th, 2013. A capacity of 500, but they consistently, in the last 3 days, over 1,000 in attendance. And it's packed here tonight. Ground ball to Rodriguez.
Shortstop's getting all kind of action today for both teams. And so far, they've made all the plays, although Rodriguez made that throw a little interesting. A little help from Subject at first base to complete the play.
Here's Allie Arneson. One hit so far in the Big Ten tournament. That one hit was a home run in the quarterfinals. Part of the Big Ten all-defensive team already. In this game, you can see why. Spent some time last year because of injury between shortstop and the DP spot. Is your everyday shortstop this year.
Really has improved throughout her career.
A couple of good ones on either side. The 2-1.
So far, this game has been all about pitching and defense. Haven't had a lot of base runners. Really just one hit in the entire game with Hope Bradner in the first inning.
Count goes full.
And it's no surprise that it's been led by the pitching and defense. These teams are number 1, number 2 in terms of defensive team fielding percentage. Michigan 1, Minnesota 2. Tough to score runs.
Arneson to Blair. Connected well, though, on that one. Now 2 outs.
Minnesota's had a couple of those. Rodriguez with the diving catch to start the game, first hitter of the game, and now Blair, who's been so good on offense all season long and also been very steady on defense.
Caitlin Kemet-Mueller to Rodriguez coming over. An errant throw. And she will reach on the air.
This ball's hit deep into the gap. Rodriguez takes a little while to get it out of her glove and then absolutely sails it over.
Check that, the hit to Kemet-Mueller.
Kemet-Mueller was hustling down the line. Both of these shortstops were, talked about it with Minnesota and Arneson and Rodriguez. They like to play deep, and it does give you a little more range, a little more chance to get to balls, but you know, there's been a lot of plays at first base just like that where, you know, it's too long of a throw to throw out the runner. Both these teams have good speed. I'd make that adjustment, come in just a little bit, especially with Smith on the mound and Bobine on the mound. You're getting a lot of ground balls.
5 putouts already today from that position. off-speed look. Didn't go for it.
Kind of a late swing, and excuse me swing, because it's an off-speed pitch, and she's trying to protect with 2 strikes. It does indeed look like the barrel comes in front of the plate, but he stays in the box.
Swinging away. Second straight inning, Beaubien has ended on a K. All right, tied at 0 between Michigan and Minnesota. We bring in Jamie Trexel in her second year with the Gophers. And, Coach, kind of an unusual situation. You get all the way to the championship game, and you face a team that you haven't played. You face a pitcher who you haven't played. How do you prepare your team for that kind of situation?
I know we talked about her a little bit, but without overlooking our opponents, coming into it. And, it's just making adjustments during the game and passing along information. But we're a team that shares a lot of information on both sides of the ball, so we're comfortable with it. But, 35-minute turnaround, just ready to go and come out here and compete and just try to win 1 inning at a time.
The coach, Amber Fiser, has a career strikeout performance in the last game and give the ball to Sydney Smith. Talk about what went into that decision.
Well, we started sit on Friday or yesterday, and then, Northwestern's a tough matchup, and Fiser pitched well against them. But we have a lot of confidence in both our pitchers, and so Sid's more than capable of coming out here and doing her job. And our defense has to play well behind her, which they have at this point, and we got Fiser to close if we need her. So we like the matchup.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
That was going to be my follow-up, is if she would be okay, but she just answered it in her answer, and the fact that you have an Amber Fiser to close, but we saw the athletic trainer working on her arm, and so then there's just the slight question if she is okay.
Well, she looked strong. She's, having a little hydration in the dugout. She looks great. Just keeping her loose. I'm sure, pitcher's forearm at this time of year, especially one like Fiser who spins the ball well, throws a lot of curveball, up pitches. That forearm's getting a lot of work. Kind of think of like a tennis player, it can get really tight. So just keeping it loose. I like what Traxel said, though, about this matchup. She really likes this matchup, and I have to agree with her. Michigan has a very power-hitting team. We saw what they did in the last game to Wisconsin. They can hit through the lineup, and Sid Smith is more of a spin pitcher, down pitcher, control pitcher. He's trying to make Michigan, kind of have 3 offensive executions before they score a run, not just let it happen with 1 swing of the bat.
Katie Alexander having a career year. There was a stretch where she was hitting about 382 for about 11 or 12 games. Had one of the hotter bats towards the end of the year for Michigan. Strike 2.
In fact, this Minnesota pitching staff, well, the combination of just looking at Fiser and Smith, not the entire staff, but they've only given up 13 home runs all season long. That is a very low number at this time of year.
Walked it. First base runner. She had taken care of 6 straight.
Just off the inside part of the plate. Good plate awareness from Katie Alexander. Michigan's first base runner.
Haley Hogenron at the plate, showing bunt. One for 5 in the tournament. Lays down the bunt. Alexander to second. Take take advantage of your first base runner, why don't you?
Oh, what makes this bunt so effective is where Hogan Rod decides to put the bunt. You know, everybody in the stadium knew Hogan Rod was going to bunt. You get that feeling you're down in the order. Not a lot of action going on. The corners are crashing from Minnesota. So what's Hogan Rod do? Forces the pitcher to field the bunt, and that allows Katie Alexander to get to second base.
The number 9 hitter, Natalia Rodriguez, the switch hitter. This at bat from the right side.
Yeah, Michigan looking for something through the infield. On the left side, typically more of a bunter, soft slapper. And in this situation, looking for a hit.
Rodriguez with Partain backing up and immediately eyes Alexander at second base. Minnesota getting to the championship game, had to win a couple of games in the Big Ten tournament. They defeated Purdue 4-3 in the quarterfinals, the 10th straight tournament win. You go back to the 2016 year, then Pfizer with the shutout against Northwestern. Tying the career high with 13 strikeouts. She's now done it 5 times in her career. Minnesota has won 11 straight Big Ten tournament games since that 2016 season.
We'll call that Big Ten tournament dominance at this point. You just don't see that too often. There's so much parity in this league. But they have been able to get it done when it matters the most on this weekend.
Faith Canfield, one of the ones you want at the plate in a scoring opportunity. She did ground out in the first, but 37 RBI on the year and a .420 average.
And with the base open, Peters on deck. We've seen what Peters can do. She can drive the ball deep as well, but typically more of a short game specialist. If you're Minnesota, you are very careful trying to stretch the zone a little bit, get Canfield to fish, because she has been on a tear in this Big Ten tournament.
Canfield flies out to left. Michigan with an empty opportunity in the third. Still no score between Michigan and Minnesota, and joining us now is the head coach, Carol Hutchins, and maybe an empty opportunity there in the last inning for your offense. How do you describe that approach in the third?
Well, I told the hitters we need to go up there to drive it far. We've been swinging a little bit not with attack, and we just need to attack better. And, you know, sometimes it takes a while to get going.
But, Coach, you were confident yesterday with the start to Storako, confident this morning the start to Beaubien. You turn back-to-back starts in the same day with Beaubien. What goes into those decisions?
Well, honestly, you know, Beaubien, she's a pretty durable kid, and she's a tough kid, and I thought she threw well today, and so far, so good. There's a lot of game here.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coming into this game, Beaubien 10 2/3, 6 hits, has only given up 1 run. And picked up a couple of wins. You mentioned she came in relief in the quarterfinals, and then picked up the win in the semis as the starter. Our State Farm State of Success, how about 200-plus strikeouts in multiple seasons? You got Pfizer, you got Beaubien, and you got Tara Trainer of Indiana.
That's a very good list of pitchers, you know, and when you can generate over 200 strikeouts in a season, It just does a lot, not only for your defense, takes a lot of pressure off your defense, but also doesn't take too many runs on the offensive end to come away with that W.
Nine, 1, and 2 for Minnesota. Ball for Carly Brandt. It's been an outfielder, a second baseman, shortstop. She's a pitcher. She's a DP. She went and fetched Brooke water during the break. Oh, wait, she didn't do that. The 2-2, check swing. It's just not working for Beaubien so far. Full count. Two of the top teams in the conference and in the country, Michigan, Minnesota. You can throw Northwestern in the conversation. Three teams looking ahead even after this weekend to the NCAA tournament. We'll see what's coming up after Brandt. Top of the order, Partain, Houlihan, and Brandner. Brandt. Right at the right fielder, Hogenrod.
And the Michigan defense has played very well behind Megan Beaubien. Not as many strikeouts as she typically has, just 2 the first time through the lineup. The defense has stepped up. And looking ahead, you look at this is an exciting time of year, all the conference tournament winners, some regular season winners punching their tickets. Harvard from the Ivy League has punched their ticket. DePaul from the Big East, and Longwood from the Big South. Lipscomb from the Atlantic Sun. Florida State from the ACC. Boston University goes back-to-back from the Patriot League. Louisiana Tech from Conference USA, and Maryland, Baltimore County from the America East.
Partain slaps it. Rodriguez gets it. These two teams are in the NCAA tournament. There are some teams here in the conference that are hoping that they can make it to the postseason. With some of the, keeping your eye on some of the other conferences across the country, what are some of the battles and the conferences that the Big Ten's keeping an eye on?
Yeah, definitely looking on things like the Missouri Valley Conference. Drake currently at a 25 RPI. If they don't win that conference tournament, that would not be good for some of the sub-40 RPI teams you see there with the Big Ten. But the Big Ten ran into Shonda Stanton in between games, and she's keeping a very watchful eye on those things, and gave me a quick update, reminded me to, take a look at some of those things. Both Oklahoma and UCLA also in their tickets punched. And, you're keeping an eye on those things, because if the team's ahead of you in the RPI, they're going to go anyway, so you're hoping that they win their conference tournaments and get that automatic bid. But if you have those upsets, that's when you start ticking off those lower RPI teams.
Michigan and Minnesota both hoping that they get an opportunity to host. Northwestern in that conversation. It has happened before in the Big Ten where 3 teams have hosted a regional. Last time was 2008. Houlihan to Rodriguez, who chases it to get it. The stretch, she's safe.
And we've seen this happen earlier in the game, and it happens again. Rodriguez, playing a typical shortstop position, but it's become a little too deep. She still attacks this ball, but goes sideways, and by the time she moves to the ball, because of the depth of where she's playing, she's not able to throw out these Minnesota base runners. And again, a little bit of that had to do with the fact that she had to move to the ball. The speed of the ball was slow. The direction was away from her. So, you have to account for a little bit of that movement. But if I'm Rodriguez, I'm just, with nobody on base, going to play in a little bit tighter, because that's where she's been beat a little bit today.
To Canfield, almost got that. Valiant effort there by Faith Canfield at 5'9". She needed to be at about 5'10" to reach that. Now 2 on with 2 out.
Great effort by Canfield. Goes back hard, reaches at the last second, but the ball just caroms over her glove. Drop steps, times her jump beautifully. It needed a size 13-inch glove. She probably has a size 12-inch glove there in the infield. 13-inch might have got it.
And to the plate is the leading RBI getter. Tonight on BTN, Big Ten baseball comes your way. The Terrapins slug it out with the Gophers, and tomorrow don't miss a doubleheader of action. You can catch it all right here on BTN and, of course, the Fox Sports app. Den Hartog with 59 RBI on the year. And an opportunity for 60 or more.
A lot of times you get to a championship game, it comes down to the 2-out hitting, especially 2-out RBIs. Den Hartog in that situation right now.
Infield pop-up to end the inning. Minnesota, that time, is the one coming up empty-handed. The Big Ten softball tournament on BTN is brought to you by Diet Dr. Pepper. It's the sweet one. And by SoFi. Get your money right. Sun has left the area. Still good weather to play some softball. Championship atmosphere under the lights. Packed house. 2 of the premier softball programs in the Big Ten the last few years. Natalie Peters to lead things off. Two strikes on her.
Sydney Smith, as Coach Traxel mentioned, has earned this start. Started the first game of the Big Ten tournament. Did a nice job. Got to rest during the semifinal game and hands the ball to her senior, and she has delivered.
Slaps it, drops in. First hit for Michigan.
And Natalie Peters is having a very good Big Ten tournament. This time just flares the ball to the outfield, and that's what Michigan needs. Some speed on the bases, most importantly, a hit on the scoreboard and a base runner early in the inning.
Peters, one of the seniors, didn't start a game her freshman year. Now has been a starter basically the rest of the way, except for 3 games her sophomore season. Lexi Blair struck out for just the 5th time this year in her first at-bat. And constantly looks unfazed. Whether it's after a home run, whether it's after a strikeout.
Well, and you might think in a 0-0 game, you got your leadoff batter on. Why not move her in a scoring position? The hits have been hard to come by in this championship game, but Lexi Blair has been on a tear all season long. One of the best hitters in the league, one of the best hitters in the country this year.
And a harmless ground ball. There's the arm from Arneson. They've gotten Blair out now 2 times. Alex Subchek now up. The breakout year continuing. Earning herself a second-team All-Big Ten. Most highly recruited member of this senior class, has career highs in batting averages, runs, hits, home runs, RBI. First pitch strike. First year she's batting above 260. And really that's a similar theme for her in this senior class. You look at the freshman season stats, not all that impressive, not all that eye-popping. How about the 1 game played for Mackenzie Nemeth there on the right side? And then these are their senior season stats. The improvement from freshman year to senior year has been awfully impressive for those 5. None of them were starters.
And you love to see that because you don't see that very often anymore. If a player isn't having instant success or getting an instant start their freshman year, they're starting to look around, somewhere else instead of maybe putting their head down and going to work. And those seniors for Michigan are a great example of that.
At one point this year, they had a 17-game win streak. Snapped with the only loss of the conference season to Ohio State. It came in 8 innings. Look who's in the pen. She's finished her stretching, her hydration in the dugout, and going back to work.
It's tough, a lot of times you put in a pitcher and coaches will say it all the time, we're going to pitch by committee, we're going to go 1 time through the lineup, because if you have, as a hitter, if you haven't seen a pitcher, it takes a little bit to adjust sometimes, and it's even tougher if your first time you've seen Amber Fiser is your first time through the lineup.
Caught looking. Subchek thought she had herself a walk.
Great location from Smith. Works the bottom of the zone, catches the corner, gives you the fist pump. She knew it when she left her hand. The big strikeout for Sydney Smith.
2 on the night for Smith. Here's Uden. Look out, Hutch.
Once again, we find ourselves in a situation. We have 2 outs, a runner in scoring position. You kind of get the feeling whichever team can come through in these situations is going to go a long way.
How about this? Uden with the shot. Peters with the score. Michigan strikes first. Ninth double of the year for Madison Uden. And it's the first RBI of the championship.
And to win championships, you need good pitching, you need good defense, you need timely hitting. None more timely in this game than a 2-out RBI from Madison Uden. And Natalie Peters, with her speed on the base paths, she scores easily, and Michigan's on the board first.
Michigan hasn't won the Big Ten tournament since 2015. 21 Big Ten regular season titles. They've won 11 of the last 12. Certainly knows what it takes to win a championship, and you have to wonder how long they will go before we see Amber Fiser in the circle. Mackenzie Nemitz swings at the first pitch, but not before Michigan gets one in the top of the 4th. The slap single to start things off in the inning for Peters, and she came around to score thanks to the RBI by Uden. Bottom of the 4th. Minnesota with a chance to respond. Michigan scoring first in the top half. This is how the Wolverines got here. Quarterfinals defeated Illinois in 8 innings. Lexi Blair had the walk-off home run in the 8th, and then defeating Wisconsin earlier today. Canfield was a perfect 4 for 4. Burns, Arneson, and Kemet-Mueller scheduled to bat in this inning. First out.
Beaubien's had a very good day. Scattered 4 hits, 2 strikeouts when she's needed them, no walks. Very typical performance for Beaubien. Rarely does she give up free passes. Had to work pretty hard to get out of that first inning unscathed.
As you mentioned, last year's Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. She gets Arneson to swing at that first pitch. Efficient inning here so far.
And a lot of fly ball outs from Minnesota. The pitch keeps running in on their hands. They can't quite get their barrel on the ball. And credit to Megan Beaubien, breaking the pitch well, tucking it in low in the zone, and very efficient.
That pitch still getting away from her. Facing Caitlin Kemet-Mueller. Kemet-Mueller. Basically replacing Danielle Parlick at third base this year. Parlick, Sydney Dwyer graduated last year's championship team. The 1-1. Second strike.
And that's been the difference for Beaubien today as well. She's able to throw a strike to both sides of the plate. And when you can have command of both sides of the plate and stretch the zone vertically and throw in a few off-speed pitches for strikes, it makes it very difficult to hit.
Lays off. One ground out, 8 fly ball outs, and a couple of strikeouts. One to Den Hartog in the first inning, one to Lindner in the second. And how about one to Kemet-Mueller in the 4th? Her 3rd of the game, still shutting out the Gophers. Our game summary presented by Discover. Our 2 starting pitchers through 4 complete.
Now, both having a very good day, scattering hits. Just the 2 hits given up from Sydney Smith, but they were in the same inning, led to the run of Michigan. But they have controlled very high-powered offenses for both of these teams.
Peters got the hit to lead off the inning, and Uden with the RBI double. Now it's back to Katie Alexander, 7, 8, and 9. So Alexander's numbers from freshman to senior year. The bullpen catcher is what Carol Hutchins thought that she might be when she came to Ann Arbor. Way back when, in that 2016 game against Minnesota, got her first career start.
Thrown into the fire, the Big Ten championship, Big Ten tournament championship game. Katie Alexander's just a great story. You know, I've affectionately called her Lunch Bucket Katie because she just went to work every day, worked on her skills, worked on her hitting, worked on her catching, and been the starting catcher now and is a Big Ten champion.
And a captain, too. 1 of 3. Uden, who has the RBI, is the other, along with Faith Canfield. Alexander trying to push it the other way. Let's look at another chance.
I've talked about it before. Alexander does have home run power. Almost a third of her hits that she does have on the season have gone over the fence for home runs. And nice to have that kind of home run power in the bottom third of your lineup for Michigan.
Katie Alexander by direction for home runs, 6 right to center field, 4 to left. Hasn't shown the power this year to right field yet. Count stays at 2-2. But nice to have your number 2 pitcher have a performance like this in the championship game.
Yeah, and so far, Minnesota electing to stick with Smith. I mean, she's only given up 2 hits. And as we mentioned, they led to 1 run for Michigan, but she has really controlled this Michigan lineup.
Alexander crushed it to the wall, to second base. And another extra base opportunity for Katie Alexander. 6th double of the year.
Just battles and battles and battles. Has some long at-bats because she fouls a lot of pitches off till she gets something she likes. This pitch is on the outside part of the plate. She still pulls the ball, but has enough power to drive it all the way to the fence for a stand-up double.
Be now Grace Chelleman pinch running, and we will have a pitching change. Fizer coming in an important situation in the title game. For Fizer coming off a semifinal performance that was special, tying a career high 13 strikeouts against Northwestern. 5th time in her career she's accomplished that feat. And her stat line against the Cats looks like this. Complete game, gave up 4 hits. And only 1 inning, that was the 6th, where she hadn't struck out at least 1 batter. Sydney Smith will now watch from the dugout. Facing Hogenrod, Fizer fielding her position. 1 out. Chelleman to 3rd.
Good execution by Hogenrod. Remember, Michigan has not faced Fizer this year, so first offering, she gets it down quickly. And you've got to be ready to play defense when you come in the game to pitch, too. Fizer, this ball goes right back at her. She hustles to the ball, picks it up quickly, and fires an overhand strike to first base, showing you her fielding skills as well.
Might have a pinch hitter. Carol Hutchins making a change. Instead of Natalia Rodriguez, it'll be Lou Allen. For a chance of Lou in the crowd here for the Michigan fans who've come in attendance. She's become kind of a crowd favorite. Because of injury, she's been sitting in really a pinch hit role and has some really good at-bats this year, though few and far between. This will be her 15th of the year.
The batting average really doesn't show the type of at-bats she's had. We saw her yesterday work a very high pitch count and absolutely drilled the ball. It ended up in a double play because it was hit so hard, but she battles.
First pitch strike here to Allen. Allen taking it to left field off the wall. Chelleman scores. Allen headed towards second base. Pinch hit success. And that is why she's a crowd favorite.
Talk about embracing your role. The first pitch she sees from Fizer, this pitch is elevated out of the zone. But Allen keeps her barrel high, keeps her barrel on plane, and gets Michigan a very important second run in this game.
Rodriguez will re-enter at second base. To the top of the order. Faith Canfield. Amber Fizer's first time pitching against Michigan in her career. The 2016 matchup. Fizer, the backup to Sarah Groenewegen. There's Canfield. Drops in. Rodriguez to third. For a second, Carol Hutchins looked like she wanted to send her.
No doubt about it. Faith Canfield continues to stay on a tear in the Big Ten tournament. Carly Brandt ends up misplaying this ball a little bit, but Rodriguez had to let it ready slowed down. That's the toughest thing about being a third base coach. You always have to believe the player's going to make the play, the outfielder, and you're already slowing down your runner, and then you see him drop it, and you think, you know, I should have sent him. But Michigan has a big rally going. First and third, speed everywhere for Michigan right now. Only 1 out. More scoring opportunities.
Yeah, what an ideal opportunity. You got your slap hitter at the plate. And as you had mentioned, speed at the corners. Jamie Traxel talking about it. Faith Canfield, by the way, the only hitter in the Big Ten tournament this year with 7 hits this week. That single was her first of the championship game.
Oh, this is a lot of fun if you're a coach and you're on offense. As you mentioned, tough hitter at the plate, can bunt, can slap, power slap, swing away. You got speed at the corners in a first, third. A lot of options for Michigan. Can steal, bunt.
Canfield caught in no man's land. Gets back to first safely.
Yeah, was really trying the delay steal just to see if Minnesota would throw. We mentioned in the earlier game as Canfield jams her shoulder a little bit on that slide back. They're trying to draw the throw. She does draw the throw, but there's not enough time for Rodriguez to try and score. See, she gets in pretty hard on the bag.
There's your slap. Rodriguez gets in. The out is made at first base. 3-0 Michigan.
Michigan's ability to put the ball in play. Remember, we just saw Amber Fiser have a 13 strikeout game against Northwestern, and so far for Michigan, they've been able to put the ball in play. This one goes right back up the middle, and once it's over Fiser's glove, Rodriguez does not hesitate. She is going as soon as that ball is actually on the ground. It's contact play. Michigan using their speed to get another run.
Strike call on Lexi Blair. They've gotten her out both times. Struck out in her first at-bat, grounded out in the fourth. Swing and a miss. Lexi Blair, one of 4 in the Big Ten to hit above 500 in conference play this year. Blair the ground ball. Arneson fields it. Michigan picks up a couple in the top half of the 5th, and Lou Allen sparking the Go Blue charge. Pinch hitter heaven. Taylor bump. Look out for the bump. Oops.
Is that excessive celebration?
Penalty of 10 yards. Taylor Bump, if you've been following Michigan for the Big Ten tournament, she is definitely the energy in the dugout. She'll sometimes come in as a defensive substitute, but she keeps things nice and loose for the Wolverines. Allie Lindner, the lefty bat to start things off. 8-9-1 for Minnesota.
the feeling Minnesota, as this game goes along, less outs to work with. Just need to get something going here, get a few base runners. They have.
Taylor Bump throughout the Big Ten tournament leads the team earlier. And these shots are from earlier, not in this game, but leads the tournament in fun and guitar playing. Foul tip. You gotta have one of those players on a team.
Oh, absolutely. They keep things light. Team rallies around them.
Blue dot is where we're at in Bloomington, Indiana. And unfortunately, all that green stuff is coming through. The reason why we pushed up a couple of semifinal games in this championship. And some rain has already started to fall. Strikeout for Lindner. Fourth of the game for Beaubien. Crowd staying with it, but the umbrellas are out. Ponchos are out. Just a light rain here so far. Our delays, our weather delays coming on the first day of this tournament this year. One in the first game and one in the last game on Thursday. Brant lays off.
It's been very impressed with Megan Beaubien in this game. Back-to-back starts today. Scattering a few hits, but they've been just that, scattered. No big rallies for Minnesota. And this is one of the best off-speed pitches of the tournament for Megan Beaubien. Look at the bend on the ball. Good break on the ball. And just the slower speed. Tough to pick up. And when it's on, she can throw it on any count. Scattered 4 hits, no walks. Also 4 strikeouts. Those are been scattered as well.
Popped it up. Room to move and to make the play for Udin.
Good communication. Of course, when you have a play right in front of your own dugout, they're going to help you out quite a bit. And the whole team helping her out, telling her she has plenty of room to make the catch. Always nice when you have a little help from your friends.
Four strikeouts today for Beaubien, 16 total for the tournament. Now facing the top of the order for the 3rd time. Partain placing it into the gap. Blair on the chase. And a double for Partain with 2 outs. Sixteenth of the year.
Partain is just so smooth. Watch this swing. No wasted motion. Takes the ball where it's pitched. It's curveball moving away from her. She sends it to the other field. Blair tries to take a deeper angle to cut it off, but it's to her backhand. A little bit awkward for an outfielder running that hard. They don't work on those backhands every day, going into the gap.
So maybe a Gopher rally here with 2 outs. The big hitters to the plate.
Well, the 3rd time through the lineup, they've now seen Megan Beaubien.
Houlihan flies out to Hoganrod. They leave Partain stranded there at second base. Still can't plate a run through 5. Love the reaction from Lou Allen in Michigan, liking this championship game here so far. This has been the path for both of these teams, the 1 seed and the 3 seed, to get to this point. Top of the 6th we go. 12 teams, 11 games. We're proud to be your home for the Big Ten tournament for another year in 2019. Alex Subchek, your batter, to lead things off. Swing and a miss. Struck out looking against Smith in her last time up. There's the first strikeout for Fizer in the championship. Mentioned that we're the home for the Big Ten tournament. Really proud to do that. And some people, as always, to thank. And we start at the top. BTN president, our new BTN president, Francois McGillicuddy, senior VP and executive producer Mark Halsey, our senior coordinating producer Alex Birchie, our producers. We had a couple of crews, broadcast crews, working throughout these days, the 4-game days. Glenn Hallis, Denny Blunt, our producers, directors Billy Proctor and Andrew Blaustein. And it doesn't end there. Operations coordinators trying to coordinate a whole lot. Brian Mueller and Nicole Matheson, lead engineers, piecing everything together. The bunt's down. It's a fair ball with a catch there at first base. Partain hanging on. What a play that was for Minnesota.
Great play here by Burns. Hustles out, but the throw sails on her. But check out Partain. Such a calm, cool, collected play on a very difficult play. Keeps her toe on the bag, gets full extension to get the out.
Teamwork for a couple of outs there for Minnesota. Through the rain and the weather, our crews had to survive. Mentioned the lead engineers, Matt John, Eric Weber, Mike and Mo, of course. Lead audio, Mike, Ryan, Jack, Judy on stats, trying to crunch all the numbers because you know I can't. Math is not a strength. And Sam and Jake helping us out with that. Technical directors, Alex and Bob. Great graphics here today, kind of putting the storylines together. There's a lot of ways to tell different stories. And Struckman, Courtney, Cernan, Catherine doing a great job with that. Our associate directors, Sean and Derek, lead tape. Danny, Travis, J-Dub, Misha, awesome job. Video, Jeff and Pete. The scorebug, Nick and Kevin. Dean Linke and, of course, Jenny Ritter, your announcers for that crew that had to start at 11 p.m. game one time and 1 a.m. And we can't forget stage manager Gail Green. We like to call her our TV mom.
She has been fantastic all weekend.
And finally, our camera crew, Barry, David, Terry, Jason, Chris, Eric, and Micah. Thanks, guys. Through the weather that's even coming down right now, through the long days, the early crew calls, the late nights. As Mackenzie Nemitz fouls it off. We hope that you see some of the personalities, the people you don't get to see. Unfortunately, you have to see you and me a lot and listen to us for hours.
Well, those people look like, you know, our friends out there have some great personalities. They definitely need a little more time.
Full count now to Nemitz. continues to come down. 2 outs in the top half of the 6th. Wachter. What a difference a game makes from the semifinals to the finals for Amber Fiser.
Yeah, just one strikeout. And has gone through the lineup now 1 complete time for Michigan.
Number 17, catcher, Lee Alexander.
Here comes Katie Alexander. Got a double, and then Jamie Traxel switched up pitchers after that. We got a conversation here about Amber Fiser and all. Peters, who got things going with the slap single to start off this inning, and Uden is fired up. And then in the 5th, the big pinch hit by Lou Allen.
Lou Allen comes off the bench. The first pitch she sees, it's a double, and scores Chellerman, puts Michigan up 2-0. And then Natalia Rodriguez sees the ball on the infield. Michigan gets a 3rd run using their speed. It's been all Michigan. So far, Minnesota shut out.
And the tarp trying to protect the circle in the middle of the infield right now coming out. They haven't brought out the full tarp yet.
And this hilltopper surface can take a lot of water, and they have the ability to get the water off quickly. And I'm going to try and look at that as a good sign, meaning it's not going to be a heavy downpour. We're hoping, although, as you mentioned earlier, that's a lot of green on the screen. But green also means light, so I'm just hopeful.
We don't need that much more to play, arguably, in the top of the 6th. But we knew this was coming, and this is the reason why we pushed up our schedule here today. Again, we started our semifinal at 9 a.m. Eastern. Michigan defeating Wisconsin. Got our 2nd semifinal in, and now we're just waiting for a final here for the championship game. We will update you as the details come. Right now, Michigan ahead of Minnesota in the top of the 6th, 3-0. Minnesota taking some time out, sitting indoors. Snacks are always important. That's what you said.
Always snack time. Always snack time. This is just another little break so that both teams can get refueled.
Michigan still sitting in their dugout. And our weather delay goes on. So we'll show you the Big Ten all-defensive team. Caitlin Kemet-Mueller playing in this game. Allie Arneson there at 3rd and short. Faith Canfield and Megan Bobian Beaubien being able to field her own position. Subcheck has been solid there for Canflas. You got a whole infield there that you're watching here in the championship game that basically has made the Big Ten all-defensive team. Speaking of some really good defense, we have seen some spectacular plays throughout the last few days during the tournament. Let's start you out with Ohio State's Ashley Prendick.
Outstanding play. And then Gabby Jenkins from Indiana, the assist from the outfield. And how about Natalia Rodriguez, Stephanie Lombardo? We've seen it team after team. Shellmeyer with the leaping catch. How about Natalie Peters laying out? And then Morgan Newport, the lefty, the toss. And a lot of great defensive plays here in Bloomington.
Really good defensive plays. These fans refuse to leave their seats. Umbrellas are out, the ponchos are out. Grounds crew has been out the entire time. They continue to tend to this infield. Big Ten tournament, looking at the bracket. We started out way back on Thursday, and we've advanced here to the championship game between Michigan and Minnesota. We had 12 teams and 11 games. You have a favorite memory or a favorite moment or maybe a favorite game that you see here?
I think a couple. The opening game when Indiana was here playing at home against Penn State, the crowd was excited. It was a fun game. Indiana scored a lot of runs, doing what they do, stealing bases, short game, bunting the ball. And you have to give the nod also to the Michigan-Illinois extra inning game. Taylor Edwards from Illinois was fantastic. And Lexi Blair with the walk-off winner in the 8th inning to send Michigan to the semifinals, and they advance into the championship.
That'd be my vote, I think, for favorite game, in the fact that there were so many key moments. There were pressure moments. I felt like it really felt like it was a postseason during that time. Illinois, of course, battling for life in the NCAA tournament. And then it was special, even just you go back to a game ago, it was special to watch what Amber Fiser did in that semifinal to shut out Northwestern and win 4-0.
He was a strikeout machine, tied her career high with 13 strikeouts, was really dialed in and had Northwestern fooled for the entire game.
So we're in a weather delay. Michigan, again, leading here in the championship game. We are in the top of the 6th. 3-0 is the score. Amber Fiser continues to munch on those snacks, and our radar continues to push through that system. Carol Hutchins never wanted this game to end. And talking to Indiana head coach Shonda Stanton and, of course, Jamie Traxel, this was just moments ago. Shonda Stanton, of course, the host of this tournament. And they both walked into kind of tournament headquarters there on the field to perhaps check out the radar. The last 5 tournament champions has been dominated by Minnesota, winning 4 of the last 5. Michigan's last championship in the Big Ten tournament, you see it there, it came in 2015.
It's been the Minnesota show. It's just been very impressive. And here they have another opportunity to make it 4 in a row. Have some work to do to come back in this game, but
the coaches have reemerged from their hiding. And we are pulling that small tarp off that's protected the mound in the middle of the infield there. And perhaps we are close to a decision. And once we know, we'll, of course, let you know. And the Big Ten tournament titles have been dominated by these 2 schools. Michigan with 9, they sit in first place. Minnesota with 5, sitting in second. Carol Hutchins looks somewhat satisfied with whatever was discussed there as the teams look like they're making their way back out. Snacks in the belly, they are ready to go. Minnesota might be loose because they enjoy this stage. They have done so well. They are going for 4 straight. 3 championships. Haven't lost since that 2016 run. This is what they've averaged, almost 6 runs per game. Pitching has been good as well. Mentioned Sarah Groenewegen, who's thrown throughout that stretch. Amber Fiser, we've seen her grow up through that stretch, being the backup and now the ace for Minnesota.
Just so impressive. I mean, 11-0 in a tournament where the stakes are very high. It's just very impressive. That is not easy to do year after year. Players come and go, and yet the tradition continues for Minnesota. And, you know, same on the other side of the dugout. Players come and go, and Michigan wins 11 of the last 12 regular season championships. So both of these programs know how to win. They know how to win when it matters the most.
Well, Michigan, now some players, they're leaving the dugout, going out to warm up. What's exactly the rules here in a weather delay for these teams in the warm-up situation?
Well, I'm sure they'll give each team ample time to warm up, and especially the pitchers. You know, when the pitchers feel ready to go is usually when they'll start out, and we've got action in the bullpen as the pitchers warm up. You know, it's not going to take long for the players. It really wasn't that long of a break. You know, probably similar to a long offensive inning where you're in the dugout for a while. So they'll throw a little bit, run a little bit, but you know, it's really all about the pitchers and when they feel like they're ready to go full strength.
Kudos to the grounds crew as they work to get this field ready to go. Our third weather delay of the Big Ten tournament. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. Pitchers getting warm in the bullpen. Light rain still coming down, but all signs that we're going to try to give this a go here. Both Beaubien and Fizer in their respective bullpens. Top of the sixth is where we have halted action. 3-0 is the score. Right now, the current situation looks like this. Katie Alexander at the plate. Mackenzie Nemitz at first base. And Fizer is your pitcher. She came in relief for the championship.
2 outs in that inning as well, you know, so everybody warming up, getting ready to go. I don't know the exact thought process as everyone is starting, but the weather only looks like it may progress in a worse, to a worse state. And if there's, you know, this may be the best conditions for the rest of the day.
Minnesota taking the field. We're going to play more softball. Showed you Alexander's at the plate. You mentioned that there's 2 outs. It's a 1-0 count on Alexander, and that's where we will resume. Nemitz has already taken her spot at first base. Minnesota doesn't even have all its fielders out there, but Michigan's ready to go.
Well, and they need a pitcher. That might, they definitely need a pitcher. Still warming up a little bit over there. And, you know, you want to make sure it wasn't an atypical break, but, you know, more than anything, it's a little bit of a mental break. You sit down, you're having a refuel, little snacks, and, you know, you really don't know, are we going to get back out there? Are we not? And, you know, now you got to shift gears and turn it back on.
Amber Fizer returning with 299 strikeouts this year.
It's a phenomenal number. Number 1 in the Big Ten. Coming into today was 5th in the nation in terms of total overall strikeouts. Only has added to that total today with the career high, tied the career high for 13 against Northwestern. Knocking on the door of 300.
Just one here today. In this championship, I should say. Sydney Smith is the one who got the start for Minnesota. And there's that Hilltopper service.
Yeah, typically there's a little bit of clay around. That's why it looks a little darker. Clay around the pitching mound, pitching circle area. Clay in the batter's box. And then the Hilltopper surface, and, you know, there's different ways to care for it. And grounds crew doing a nice job as we get ready to start play.
"22 minutes away, and we resume play. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Strike on Katie Alexander. Had the double against Smith in the 5th. There goes Nemitz.
Carol Hutchins, with the long delay as well, just making sure, more than likely, that she has all the right people in the right positions, and we're going to see a pinch runner.
Carasoni is your pinch runner.
Pinch running for Michigan now at second base. Number 23, Gianna Carasoni.
Gianna Carasoni now at second base. Ground ball to Fizer, fields it. End of the inning. All right, so Minnesota coming to bat in the bottom of the sixth. Bottom of the sixth, Michigan still ahead 3-0. Continuing to keep an eye on the radar. Light rain continues to fall in Bloomington.
Number 9, the first baseman, Hope Brandner.
And gotta keep those cleats clean. It's a chore through this mess.
Well, those cleats just fill up with the surface of the infield, and you get absolutely no traction. And so the more you can, it's an ongoing process and an ongoing battle for sure, but absolutely helps.
Hope Brandner, the big bat from Minnesota.
Two hits off Beaubien so far in this game.
Brandner, a good story for Minnesota. Followed their success this year in the 3 and the 4 spot in this lineup. The transfer of Kendall Lindemann, the Big Ten Player of the Year. They needed to find some offensive production. They've gotten that from the transfer in Brandner and the freshman in Den Hartog. Brandner takes it deep to right field. Minnesota's on the board. A little weather delay helping the cause, perhaps, for the Gophers.
Hope Brandner has had a fantastic game so far. Her third hit of the game, and this one is an opposite field home run. Does not get cheated on her swings, is aggressive in her stance, aggressive with her barrel. And this one, there was no doubt about it. Minnesota has new life. They're on the board.
Maybe it was the snacks.
That's what the players are going to want coach to know, so they get a few more.
Den Hartog, well ahead.
Beaubien's only given up 6 hits in this game, and Hope Brandner has half of them, 3 of them.
From Beaubien, who's going for her 3rd win of the Big Ten tournament for Michigan. And this is what her week has looked like. 15 2/3, only given up a couple of runs and just 1 walk with the 16 strikeouts.
Been a great performance for her. The first win came in a relief role, and then 2 starts.
Natalie Den Hartog with those 16 home runs right behind Hope Brandner. Then Hartog as Canfield tries to make the play. And now the tying run to the plate, just like that for Minnesota.
Well, here comes Minnesota. 2 batters, 2 hits. Faith Canfield, tough luck out there today, just hustling to the ball. This is the second one that's been just out of her reach. Minnesota has something going here late in the game.
We've seen that time and time again, where the team that is trailing sometimes benefits by taking that pause. Whether it's because of a weather delay, it wasn't that long, 22 minutes, but maybe enough time to take a breath and reset.
Yeah, just completely took the momentum away from Michigan. You know, having that break, it was all Michigan, and then we had the break, and now it has completely shifted.
Again, Michigan, with all its success in program history, hasn't won in the Big Ten tournament since 2015. We go back to that year, 132, Sierra Romero. The home run, beating Nebraska 6-1. Haley Wagner was a part of that team as well. The 2015 team from Michigan was the one that got all the way to the National Championship Series. Driving in, it's Burns off the wall. Nearly had another home run. 2 in scoring position.
So just the top of the wall. We nearly had a tie game with one swing of the bat. Emma Barnes crushes this ball. Unfortunately for Michigan, it stays in the park, and Minnesota is fired up ever since the rain delay. 3 batters, 3 hits, and Emma Burns knocks Megan Beaubien out of the game.
Alex Storako now in the circle for Michigan. She would like to forget the outing that she had in the semis against Wisconsin. Faced 3 batters, gave up a couple of hits and a walk to the Badgers.
How quickly the momentum has shifted in this game.
A matter of inches, and one more look at how close this was to a tie game. We saw several balls go off the wall in center field, especially on our first day, over to that 220 sign in center field. That's a close one out there to left. The high wall is Michigan's best friend right now. 5 hits the first 5 innings, and then 3 of them here in the bottom of the 6th.
I haven't recorded an out, and that has brought a brand new pitcher in, and Alex Storako enters this game in a very tough situation. Nobody out, 2 runners in scoring position. Storako, more the strikeout pitcher. He's pitched quite a few innings so far, getting close to the 200 strikeout mark. She's on her game. She's going to spin the ball through the zone, works the ball up in the zone. Certainly can get a few strikeouts, but right now Minnesota is swinging the bat with confidence.
Arneson at the plate, representing the go-ahead. This is everything.
Storako coming in with good velocity. 2 quick strikes on Arneson. Had a good start in the quarterfinal game. Came in a relief role earlier today. It was not as sharp. Came out pretty quickly. Has an opportunity here to make a statement in the championship game.
Anderson taking it to left. The tag is made. Then Hartog diving head first. 3-2.
Minnesota gets another run on the board. This is an 0-2 pitch, too much over the plate, and Arneson with the sac fly. But a smart decision by Lexi Blair to go to third base to prevent Barnes from advancing 60 more feet over to third base. No way Blair's going to throw the runner out at home, so elects to go to third. Keeps Barnes at second.
Caitlin Kemet-Mueller to the plate. Opportunity to tie or even take the lead.
Boy, Minnesota's firing on all cylinders. They are having some healthy at-bats right now, staying aggressive in the box, taking some good swings. Coach Traxel likes what she sees ever since this rain delay. 2 quick runs from Minnesota.
Caitlin Kemet-Mueller has gone deep in this tournament before. We go back to the semis. She took it to left field. Just over 190. Drives that, but it's foul. Took a quick left turn. Rally cap's already on in the 6th. Remember, Minnesota is the home team batting last. Michigan has been the home team twice in this tournament. Minnesota only once. And so even though as the 3 seed, they get awarded the last at-bat in this game, which is becoming more and more important now. Struck her out. The first for Storako.
A nice pitch by Storako, goes up and in with the rise ball. Kind of an excuse me swing by Kemet-Mueller, pulls her head out, can't catch up to the ball. It's a great location. That's what Storako can do. Loves to elevate when she's ahead in the count. Throws the ball with good velocity. Big strikeout for the freshman.
Traxel making a change. And she goes with her senior, Taylor Chell. We saw an important pinch hit situation for Michigan with Allen Liu coming up for the Wolverines. Or Lou Allen coming up for the Wolverines. Taylor Chell now with an opportunity to do the same for her team. Chell swings at the first pitch. What a diving catch. Defensive stop. Might have saved the game for Michigan.
Lexi Blair, you know what she can do on offense, showing you what she can also do on defense. A diving catch. Storako's excited. Michigan holds the lead.
This time the game-changing play by Lexi Blair didn't come at the plate, but it came with her glove. One more look at this diving catch.
No, it's a rocketed ball. And Blair commits fully. Her whole team knows how important that catch was for the Wolverines. You're going to go for a diving catch like that, you've got to commit fully. Look it into your glove. Going to play the game so far for Lexi Blair.
What a turn of events it could have been. Minnesota taking the lead in the bottom of the 6th, and then suddenly Michigan comes to the plate as the visitors. They're down to their final 3 outs after leading the entire way. Morgan Overitis is your batter. Pinch hitting for Haley Hogenrod. Overitis pops it up, but it's out of play.
We expected a battle. I mean, just first of all, it's the championship game of Big Ten tournament. Championships on the line. But both of these teams, they didn't play each other in the regular season. Both have had very successful seasons. Michigan, the regular season champion. Minnesota.
Overitis off the wall. Another big pinch hit. Fourth double this year. Just the 13th hit of the season in her 47th at-bat.
Well, Carol Hutchins making all the right lineup substitutions. And then, as you mentioned, the second big pinch hit double for Michigan. When preparation meets opportunity, that's a successful pinch hit. And Morgan Overitis thinks double all the way. A leadoff double, Michigan with another runner in scoring position.
She pinch hit in the last at-bat in this spot, the 9th spot for Natalia Rodriguez. That was Lou Allen. And to lead off this inning, pinch hitting in the 8th spot. She pops it up. Oh, collision. And a hard one there between Brandner and Rodriguez.
Rodriguez drops her barrel, pops it up, has her head down, running in the baseline. Bradner's going for the catch. And so the ruling is, was it runner interference? Certainly not defensive obstruction. Bradner's going for the ball, and Rodriguez took the brunt of that. Hope Bradner had a full head of steam coming to make the catch. It's a long conversation right now with the officials.
But what can Rodriguez do differently?
The baseline is, 3 feet on either side, and then in the runner's lane. Not sure what they're going to do here. They're still sorting it out. Haven't seen an official call.
Rodriguez still has the batting helmet on. That bandage underneath her chin now. Bat's still in her hand.
Ultimately, it looks like to me they're going to call a foul ball. And just a foul ball, Rodriguez was in the running lane. Bradner's going for the catch, so Rodriguez has the right to be in the running lane. And she puts a Band-Aid on her chin. Gets a strike call, foul ball.
Suits back up.
Kind of shake her head a little bit, get her wits about her, and has an 0-2 count.
The 0-2 to Rodriguez, struck her out. Looking. 300 on the season for Amber Fiser.
And that is just not a number you see very often. That's just in one season. Catches the outside corner and freezes Rodriguez.
Faith Canfield to the plate. With still Overitis at second base. The most hits in the Big Ten tournament. Strike call.
And we saw Fizer with a strikeout pitch on Rodriguez. One side of the plate, comes back to Faith Canfield. Other side of the plate. It's what makes her so difficult to hit. She has command of both sides of the plate.
2-2.
And typically just the way she moves her hand, flattens out her hand or angles her hand, she can elevate her curveball. It can be a flat curveball. She can elevate it a little bit. Just able to do all kinds of things with the ball in terms of spin as well.
Struck her out.
Oh, and this is one other thing she can do. How about an off-speed pitch? Faith Canfield knows it. She chases it. She can't hold back. But that's senior leadership. Pats Natalie Peters on the head and says, how about you give it your best shot? You come up with the RBI.
This Minnesota pitching staff has struck out two of the toughest batters in the Michigan lineup. Sydney Smith got Lexi Blair in the first inning. And Faith Canfield has only struck out 12 times this year. Peters scored the run after the slap single to start the fourth. Slaps it to center. Overitis stays at third. Wolverines trying to come up with a two-out rally.
Yeah, 2 outs, ball in the outfield. You're thinking score all the way, but remember the outfield is playing shallow here against Peters. Look how tight Linder is, and so she gets to the ball very quickly. But Carol Hutchins wisely holds up Overitis as the ball gets into Bradner very quickly. And Minnesota having a conversation while they're cleaning out Amber Fizer's cleats about what to do in this situation. You do have an open base. Lexi Blair is one of the hottest hitters really in the country this season. She's come through a lot of times in the clutch, and Alex Subject on deck has had a tough Big Ten tournament, so you know that's a conversation that they're having out in the circle.
Well, Lexi Blair is 0 for 3 in this game, but that was not the case against Illinois in the quarterfinals. In a 0-0 game, she came to the plate and had that clutch hit. Trying to stay loose. They're doing a good job of it.
It's a long roller coaster ride, if you ask me. They went on again.
This is a long meeting. Trying to decide what to do in this situation. Lexi Blair with the big bat. We mentioned the clutch hit she had, bottom of the 8th against Illinois to right field. Won it. The only run scored in that game, and Michigan advanced to the semis. Different situation here with Michigan with the 1-run lead. It's her only home run this year. She's taken to right field. but a chance for some insurance in this at-bat. Couple of ground outs in her last 2 at-bats. Mentioned the strikeout she had in the first against Sydney Smith. The 0-2. Peters goes.
Well, a lot of times you think, okay, there's an open base, game situation. This pitch just misses outside for Fizer. She thought she might have had her. She was hoping. And then tried to get out of the way in case she felt threw down.
Hard grounder, handled by Brander. So they hold Michigan in the top of the 7th and trailing by 1. Gophers' last chance for a championship. Has not had a 7th inning comeback win this year. Oh for 8 in the kind of situation.
Once again, you have absolutely nothing Katie Alexander can do about that one. It's a foul ball and hits her right in the chops. And it stuns you for a minute. She's smiling, that's good, but, you know, you take a good jolt. Oh, loosen up the neck a little bit. Catchers are tough. Tough moment for Storako here. You remember, this is her first Big Ten tournament. She's just a freshman. Here she's got a chance to close it out for Michigan.
Evans Brandt, the sophomore, lays off the high one. Ball 2.
And Minnesota will turn their lineup over. Brandt, the 9 batter. Does a good job in that role, but Michigan's going to have to go through the toughest part of their lineup.
Kind of fitting, the way it should be, in my opinion, to try to win a championship. Storako right now in the circle for Michigan. Beaubien got the start.
Well, if Minnesota can get a base runner on, right now you have the 9-1-2 batters, you know, guaranteed to come to bat. But if they can get a runner on, Michigan will have to face Hope Brandner, the number 3 batter from Minnesota, and all she is in this game is 3 for 3 with a home run.
Walter. Leadoff is on. Waiting her turn. She's got the helmet on, anticipating an opportunity. Top of the order, Partey. Doubled her last time up. All the rally caps of every variation. Got it going in the dugout.
Storako having a tough time finding the strike zone right now. Maybe a little bit of extra velocity, extra nerves out there. She's missed very high in the zone. Hasn't even really been around the strike zone. And thus the conversation from her head coach is Megan Beaubien, the starter. Remember, she can re-enter this game. She did start the game.
right now she leaves in Storako. Maybe a missed opportunity there for Storako, walking Brandt, who only hits 152, by the way, the 9 spot.
And never, ever want to walk the leadoff batter of any inning, let alone with those numbers you just mentioned. Brandt's a good base runner as well.
Brandt was thinking about it.
Well, Minnesota knows they've got their heavy hitters, 2, 3, 4 slots, and Partain is doing her best to move Brandt into scoring position to give him a couple opportunities. Even though Partain's a good hitter as well, this is when it's important to get a runner into scoring position, work the short game.
Strike 2. The pitch before last, ooh, look out. In between the legs. Nutmeg. The 1-2. Partain has such a good eye.
So patient. 31 walks on the season for her in that leadoff role.
Let's that one go. This is what Minnesota has coming up. Houlihan, last year's most outstanding player. Brandner, Den Hartog. The biggest hitters in the Minnesota lineup. Michigan's got to go through them for a championship. Full count. Pops it up. Rodriguez makes the out.
Big full count pitch for Storako as she gets Partain to fly out. And more importantly, it was an unproductive out for Partain as Brandt is still sitting at first base.
Now they're going to help out Storako's cleats. That's a good teammate. Madison Newton and Katie Alexander. This is how Minnesota started the scoring in the 6th inning. And by the way, Hope Brandner is sitting on deck. This was her last at-bat, the solo home run after the 22-minute weather delay. Minnesota has looked like a different team since that intermission. And Brandner with 3 hits. Michigan hasn't been able to get her out. Meanwhile, they continue to work on Storako's cleats. Michigan should be used to that. They played in the rain, in the mud, and the slop the last weekend of the regular season against Maryland. That's Sunday, the final game of the regular season. Maddie Houlihan, the only Golden Gopher to appear in that 2016 championship win against Michigan. She has been Miss Consistency throughout her career, now a senior. Started over 200 games in her career. She's been in these moments before. And she pops it up. The new first baseman, Taylor Bump, making the play. Now 2 outs. And in the toughest part of the lineup, they've popped out the last 2 hitters. Brandner to the plate. Oh, that was the game-winning home run swing.
She likes Miss Traxel wants her to take a little deep breath. She knows the moment. You know, just hope Brandner's such a strong hitter, very explosive, doesn't need the long ball. The long ball would win it, of course, with the walk-off, but more importantly, needs her to put it into play.
You better believe, you know, Jamie Traxel called time and had a smile on her face. Like, I appreciate the aggressiveness. Maybe reminding her of that fact.
Well, Brandner hasn't had an at-bat yet off of Stracco. All 3 of her hits were against Beaubien.
Well, fitting that it comes down to one of the best hitters that we've seen in the conference this year. 2 of the best teams chasing a championship. The 2 schools and programs that have had the most success in the Big Ten tournament in the last few years. Brandner to left field. Lexi Blair is there. Michigan returns to the Big Ten tournament mountaintop, winning its 10th title.
And it was not easy. Carol Hutchins with a sigh of relief, all smiles for the Michigan team. Stepped up, stopped the momentum from Minnesota. Michigan wins the championship.
Theo the Tiger getting a ride, the unofficial mascot of the last couple of weekends for Michigan. Undefeated with Theo in the house. One more look at the final out. Hope Brandner gave it a ride to left.
Yeah, to the warning track. And you don't think Peters and Blair are fast? That's the fastest they've run in. Big disappointment for Brandner, who had an outstanding game, an outstanding tournament. Just came up a little short.
Alex Storacco's first tournament championship. Michigan sweeps it, winning its 21st championship in the regular season, and now the 10th tournament title. And a smile for the head coach. Kudos to the Gophers for giving it a run in the 6th inning. And that ends Minnesota's title streak. They had won 3 straight. Won the last 11 Big Ten tournament games going back to that 2016 championship. And for the first time since 2015, Michigan is back. A kiss for Theo.